Hey, what is going on guys? Welcome back to another video. So the other day I was browsing around on AlieExpress on my phone and I came across this random light from Andoer. It's called the KY-150W and it claims to be 5600 kelvins, so daylight tuned, 150 watts of power, 0 to 100% dimmable, 7200 lux at 1 meter distance, have full Sony MPF battery support, be compatible with the Bowens mount and also include a remote in the box. So you know, that sounds like a pretty good all-round feature set for a light. But here's the thing, it only costed 60 euros, which is about like 70 to 80 US dollars. Now that is really cheap for a studio light, and especially for a studio light that has all of these features. So I went ahead and bought it, just because I wanted to find out if it's actually possible to have a light with all of these features and be this cheap as well. And you know, if it turns out that it wasn't possible, well, I guess that would make for an interesting video. So this thing actually took ages to arrive, and I almost even forgot that I bought it at all. But yesterday, it actually arrived in probably the worst looking box I have ever seen in my life. But you know what? Let's take a look at it, shall we? So inside the box there isn't actually a whole lot to see here. Overall the packaging is pretty decent actually, I guess, for the price. But inside you will find the light itself, the reflector, a protective cap for Bowens mount, the remote and also the power adapter. So as you can see, there is no bag included, no modifiers or anything extra special. It's just basically the light and nothing more than that, which is to be expected at this price point, of course. So you know what, straight away, just the fact that this light arrived at all, I was already impressed. But taking a closer look at it, you can tell that this is a very cheap build quality. The plastics that they are using are quite rough and feel very cheap. The overall light is also very lightweight, which I'm not sure is actually a good sign or not. The Bowens mount is, as you can hear, quite loose. And this angle adjustment at the bottom here makes the worst sound of any angle adjustment I have ever heard. Just have a listen to this. It seriously sounds like it's going to break any moment now. So on the back you've got the power switch where you can choose between running off of AC power or battery power. You also have the LCD display, which will display the current brightness level as well as the temperature of the LED. You've also got a 5-volt USB port, which you can actually use to power your phone or something else with, which is a pretty nice feature actually. You can also use this USB port to update the firmware, at least that's what they claim, but I don't even know where I should be able to find a firmware for this thing, because it's like almost off-brand. Andoer doesn't even list this thing on their own website, so like I don't think there ever will be a firmware update. And then you've also got the AC power plug and of course also the adjustment dial for the brightness. On either side you have got the ports which will house the MPF batteries. Now I was actually impressed just how deep that these ports are. Now I only have these 970 versions of the MPF batteries, but if you have a smaller version you can actually make it completely flush and that you can actually close the door as well. Because these battery compartments are surprisingly deep and they are on both sides of the light, so just put in 2 MPF batteries and you are good to go. And just the fact that they are on both sides and so deep just makes it feel like there isn't anything inside of this light at all, which is very suspicious. So then that brings me on to probably the most important point: where is the catch? because, you know, it's ridiculously cheap. It actually arrives and is a real thing. And if I plug in the power, it actually works and turns on. So where is the catch then? Now, before I started using this thing, I thought that maybe the catch would be like a really cheap, super loud fan inside of this thing, but I'm actually pleased to say that the fan inside of this thing is pretty quiet actually. It's not the quietest thing ever, but it's very manageable. I would say the fan is maybe even slightly quieter than my Jinbei EF260, which is my main light. So then where is the catch? Well, the thing is, when I first turned this thing on, I pretty much saw it immediately. This thing is not 150 watts. I don't know why they're saying that, but it just isn't true. So the thing is, the box says it is 150 watts, the product page says that it's 150 watts, even the power brick says that it is, in fact, 150 watts. But the thing is, it's not brighter than my Jinbei light, which is only a 60 watt studio light. So how could it possibly be 150 watts? So either they are using a very inefficient LED, which just doesn't produce a whole lot of light for its power level, or they are just straight up lying. So as you can see, the brightness difference between my 60 watt Jinbei light and this claimed to be 150 watts video light is very minimal. They are about the same brightness. Now, besides that, I don't have the right equipment to measure color accuracy, but just with the naked eye, I can tell that this light has a very slight magenta tint, but overall it's not too bad. So I guess that brings me on to the conclusion already. So should you buy this super cheap video light? And you know what? If you are in the market for a very cheap 60 watt video light, I guess, yeah, because this thing is not 150 watts, don't let that fool you. It is really just a 60 watt light that says 150 on the box. But I mean, if you are looking for a 60 watt light and you are on a very tight budget, then yeah, I guess you can consider it. It is overall a cheap product. Build quality is not amazing, but it does have some nice features, especially for this price point. Just the fact that the fan is fairly quiet, it has full MPF battery support, and it includes a remote is just amazing to me. But also, if you are on a budget and you already have a fairly nice A light, you can also consider this as a budget option B light, which is actually the reason that I took the shot and bought this thing. That's because I already have a high quality A light, and you know, I just took the risk and considered this to be my new B light now. But at the end of the day, would I recommend this as a serious main studio light? Not really, unless you're very budget limited, then I guess this is your only option really. But for most people, I would recommend pick one nice light from a more known brand, and then maybe you can pick up this as a secondary light, for example. But yeah guys, that is pretty much it for this video, so I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something from it. If you're interested in more videos like these where I just try out cheap random stuff or more serious stuff, definitely let me know in the comments. But until then, take care. Peace.